everybody, it's your favorite HR buddy. Welcome to another episode of the Out of Office podcast. This is where work meets talk off the clock. Are you excited? Because I am. Today, I have two amazing, awesome, I'm out of adjectives right now, guests, and I can't wait to see where this conversation takes us. I'm not even going to mention their names. I'm just going to let them introduce themselves. So, hi, Freda.
Hey, I thought you were calling first.
Sorry,
Okay, so hi, everyone. My name is Freda-McCarthy Okosodo, and I'm the head of people at Mono, an African fintech startup that focuses on open banking.
Great. What do you do?
Like I said, as head of people at Mono, I do all things HR. I'm a generalist by nature. So whether that's from talent acquisition to strategic recruitment, workforce planning, the usual shindig. Yes, so that's me every day.
I love that you use the word strategic. We will get into strategy today. We shall narrow down that strategy. Hello.
Thing.
Hi guys, my name is Seye. Dele. I work at PaidHR. PaidHR is an ambitious company trying to sort of automate HR operations across the continent for African businesses, and also help African employees live better lives through where they work and how they get paid.
Wow,
Shala.
that's that's deep. So one of you are in the startup space, right?
Yeah.
Why are you doing startup? Why are you working startup?
I find the uncertainty very exhilarating.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's challenging. I think with startup, it's not the same thing every day. And, you're navigating so much at the same time whilst you're trying to grow. And I think with that excitement comes like an opportunity to challenge yourself in a new way. Yeah, that's why I've been in it, and I like it.
So people like certainty, but now certainty you go. Wow. Mr. Fandasa, why did you leave structured certain things to embrace uncertainty?
Yeah, so startup is not the only thing I've done. I've worked in government, I've worked in corporate, I've worked in late stage startup, I've worked in early stage startup. And, Africa is just, sort of designed today to continue to show you that almost see there are problems here and there are solutions here, and this is how you can contribute. So I just got to the point, I think it was just in my DNA that I'm going to run a company at some point. I started running businesses since 200 level.
Wow.
So
I'm curious to know what was your
I'll tell you all
business.
about it. So it just got to the point where, okay, Seye, it's time for you to go and create this value that you said you know how to create. And I think, we're seeing the shege, but we're also, creating some value.
No, I mean, you are creating some value. And as a lover of paid HR, user of paid HR, and ambassador of paid HR has had a lot of value, to companies, to employees. And I particularly must give shout out to you and the team that works on paid HR reports.
Thank you very much.
That's excellent. If you have not downloaded any of the paid HR reports, go online. Just Google paid HR reports.
I co-sign.
Yeah, right?
I co-sign.
Yeah, she's supporting.
I mean, the guys now, you see them on Instagram, you see them on Twitter, they do all the work. Yeah. All I do is just
sign off.
Provide the money. That's all.
As an investor, as an HL investor, there you are. Great. I love that. And I love this balance. First, I love that I have a founder, and, you're amazing. You're amazing, Freda. I'm saying it right there, and I will tell you why as we go. So I love that through this conversation, either you're an employee, you're an HR manager, or you're a founder, you are going to gain as much insight as possible. So stay tuned. If you have not been listening before, this is where you take that glass of water and start listening. So let's start diving in straight up. What are the top 3 challenges you face as a founder? And what are the top 3 challenges you face as an head of people in a startup?
Wow.
Yeah.
Top 3.
I know there are plenty.
Hey, God.
So the one
I
that
can't even say which one is top 3.
yeah, but the one
I can
that
give you top 50.
Oh wow.
Right?
Let's leave it at 3.
Yeah, but 3. I mean, honestly, one of the big challenges is knowing where to put your focus part time.
Okay.
In a startup world, everything is happening so quickly.
Yeah,
Even today, I've done 3 meetings where at the end of the third one, I was just like, okay, what's the next thing? What's the most important thing for me to do now? So like decision making in terms of where to put my energy, because your energy is limited and problems are unlimited. So
oh my God, I feel like I want you to say that again.
your energy is limited, right? And problems are unlimited, especially in the context of our work and our world. So you have to budget your energy, and you know what that means is you need to prioritize your decisions as time with the available time or resources that you have. Second problem is, so when I started doing business, right, as a solo entrepreneur, your job is to do your business, right? Yeah. I need to make enough money. I need to pay my suppliers. I need to figure out my profits. So you are managing your business. But when I started my company and the company started to grow, I now realize that a big part of your success is managing the people that work with you. So, you know, all my life I had people manager, management, a manager and all of that. So manager just means somebody senior, right? But, you know, working and building a company to the point where you have 40 employees, 50 employees, you now realize that you are managing not just their work and their output and their, you know,
deliverables.
You are also managing their actual lives and their emotions and their ego and their personalities. And if you don't do a good job of it, it messes up the work, right? So, you know, it was one of the big shocks for me, managing people beyond just the work. And then the last one, of course, in Africa, is money.
I was ready together. It's money.
I was just waiting for you to land.
Yeah, so just apportioning your resources, attracting more resources to your organization so that you can meet your goals. Those are my biggest challenges.
No, I mean, I loved the first one when you talked about budgeting your decisions. I mean, I know you can budget a lot of things, but I didn't know that budgeting your energy was one of them. And we would narrow down on that later, but let me hear from you, Freda.
Okay, so like from my perspective, I would say one of the top challenges is basically deciding what way the culture of the company will grow.
Oh my God, I love it.
And the reason why I say that is that a lot of the time as a startup, your ways of operation are determined by what it is that you're currently building. And what that means is that your company can look like different things in the space of like 6 months. And having to be able to ascertain a culture that can scale with you can be very difficult, because the people that, for example, started with you and people that are joining you midway have very different like perspectives of what they think the company is or should look like. So I'll say balancing that has been very difficult. I think the next thing is building in a way that prioritizes people. You know, like again,
building in a way that prioritizes people.
Yes, like Seye said, you know, like you have to take care of people's emotions and stuff. And then, because in the beginning stages of a startup, you're really bringing people in that care about the vision as much as you do. You're not really bringing people that are tied to the money, because we're assuming that you're bootstrapping, right? Yes. Exactly. So if you're not building in a way that prioritizes both the people that are with you now and the people that are going to come. And when I say building a way that prioritizes people, not just saying I care about you, but putting certain structures in place that actually show that, okay, this is a place that I can succeed in. And then the last thing would definitely have to be working in a way that makes impact. Like he said, budgeting like resources and where to put your attention, because you're drawing people to like different things, right? And now you have to work in a way that actually you can see a straight line from the task you're doing to the goal that it's achieving, which is very difficult, because at startup you are doing like four different goals. You know what I mean? So it's very difficult. So, okay, put your energy here. But that was like yesterday, but today, you know, you need to put your energy here. You know what I mean?
CBN has dropped this policy.
And you know, people like us that are in the fintech space that are got, like, we are just one policy away from our ship just shaking. So I'll say those are the top 3 things that even personally I've had to encounter in like, obviously in the role that I do. So yeah.
No. I mean, I feel like at this point, all of us should say thank you, PaidHR, for hosting this, because you guys are dropping very brilliant gems, and I like that you're not sugarcoating any of these things that you face every day. Yes. And Freda, I think I can now say it. You do an amazing job.
Thank you.
I have 2 or 3 friends in your company. I have people that have left your company to other places, and all of them say amazing things about Mono.
Thank you.
So you do an amazing job. Well done.
You.
Great. So
I mean, just to chip in, Mono was one of the places I was thinking I would go and work if my startup. I go and look for a job there. Because their culture is very visibly progressive from outside.
That's the word, visibly progressive. I tell you from inside too. You know, I mean, I read Keiko is my friend.
Yeah, yes.
Dara is my friend. Yeah, so
that's good.
you are doing
That's
amazing
good.
work.
Thank you.
Great. So I love that you talked a lot about culture. I really love the first challenge that you raised. How you're not just managing people as employees, but managing people as people. And I loved how you distinguished between the attention required to pay to those that joined you at the beginning for the vision and those that, come along. So, which leads me to my next question. How do you hire your first talents?
Ooh.
Yeah.
So I feel like when you're starting off as even like a co-founder or you're starting a business and you're hiring somebody, what you want to hire is always, first of all, have a generalist in mind. You don't have the luxury of saying, you just focus on front end and you just do. But now you need somebody that if push comes to shove, they're able to first pick up the slack. That's the first thing. So you want to think generalist too. You want to hire somebody that believes in exactly what it is that you're doing and believes in it so much that they're willing to take not just believe that, I think it's a great product, but I think it's a great product. So instead of working 5 hours, I think I can put in 6 because that extra hour is what it really like in startup. It feels like the journey doesn't end, right? And if you're already under so much immense pressure and you don't have people on the team that says, you know what, like
I'm going to take this off you.
I saw Seye stressed about the work yesterday. I know I have something I can do, but if I can do this 1 hour, maybe it will relieve him of some stress. And I think the third thing that you want to prioritize is people that are gonna be salespeople.
People are gonna
and when I say salespeople, is that sometimes you start off with like a back-end engineer, and just because you're starting off and there's no sales, you are the salesperson. Like that's the first thing I tell people when they join Mono. Like everybody's first and foremost a salesperson before they are their job, because you don't know what environment you're gonna be in where you have the opportunity. Even if it's I'm an engineer at this company and we're building something I think it's great. Come and join. So if you don't have a generalist, if you don't have somebody that absolutely cares about what you're doing beyond what you're going to pay them, and if you don't have somebody that is willing to be a footman soldier and a salesperson for you, you've lost it at your first set of employees. So that's what I would say.
God forbid, may we not lose them. Yeah, Seye, I want you to add to that.
I mean, how I hired my first employee, and even it kind of transcends even till now, is we hire for intuition, like in the early days, right? I know that the first person I hired was, like, my first proper hire was a customer success person, because our story was that myself and Lekon ran the company just solo for quite an amount of time before it became overwhelming. I was like, okay, we need to get extra help. And even though the role I was hiring was customer success, because I realized that was the part of my work. I was the sales guy, biz dev guy, customer success guy, everything that was not tech. And okay, this is the first part that I need to use to free up my time. But when I was hiring, I was hiring for intuition. Luckily, the person that I hired, I already had a relationship with, so I knew how she worked. Yeah. So it was easy for me to say, you know what, this is what
I think that you would do well.
Yeah, but then subsequently, is just hiring for intuition. Even till today, we've designed our hiring process to hire for intuition. There are people that there are 3 stages of interview at PaidHR now. The last one is with me, or if it's a technical role with Lekon. And sometimes I join the call, 2 or 3 questions that I know that, okay, I'm going to hire this person. And other times I need to ask some deeper questions. So my questions when I ask you are not tell me about yourself or,
I
ask questions like, if you are a product manager, for instance, I'll say, how do you know when a product manager has failed? Right? Which now lets the guy really think about, okay.
Have I failed before? How
exactly. So I'm not asking you what is success for you.
Basic.
Is how do you know when you have failed? Right? So what would have been my goal? So he's forced in that moment to think about his goals and what are the events that can lead up to him not meeting his goals continuously for it. He now considers that, okay, I failed here. Right?
And even his reaction to failure, like
exactly.
How does it think about failure?
If you hire for that, you even easily know people that can become your Swiss Army knife. And the guy who is, even though my work is product management, I have something to do in revenue generation.
Which is really
because
important.
The success of my product is how much impact is it able to make, and how do you make that impact? People pay for it to use your solutions. So, I think more people need to do that and go beyond hiring for like a checklist and say, is this person punctual, responsible, easy to work with
Those
others, blah, blah,
things
blah.
are
Just
basic.
how do
It's
you
the
know that
extra.
this person will bring value? How do you think the person would adapt themselves to challenging scenarios? And it's from your intuition that you'll be able to know.
No, this is very brilliant. I feel like, guys, if you've been listening so far, you're about to go on a masterclass. Masterclass with Seye of Paid and Freda of Mono. I really love the point that you made about seller. Okay, I did introduce myself. You guys know me already. My name is Emmanuel Faith. Yes, I've been in the lead HR roles. I've been doing HR ATS-ish, and I've been in lead roles 5 years, specifically in tech. And my mantra has always been, at the beginning, always hire either a builder or a seller.
Yes.
Lucky for you if you're both. I am both, right? Yeah. So I really loved when you made a point about like being a seller, because literally at the beginning of your journey, you need people that can either own something completely and build it and know that anything, man, Casey has a lockdown.
Yes.
Or people that can sell despite, their roles. So I really loved the point that you make. So my next question is interesting because you've touched on it. My next question is going to be, as funders, and you would probably answer for Freda, and I would just ask Freda another variation. So for you as a funder, how do you know the first set of roles to hire for?
Okay, yes, I already touched on it. I mean, again, just like I was saying in an earlier discussion, everything has context. Everything. Myself and Lekon were talking about, because there are still so many things we want to do. Beyond paid, we're still going to build a bunch of stuff. Yeah. And
we shall be there. It shall come to pass.
the way you build project 1 is different from the way you build project 2, because you've learned. Even if you don't have money, you shall learn something.
Yeah, you pick up lessons along the way.
So it depends on your context. What are you building? What are your resources available? When we started building PaidHR, we had nothing, right? Even though we came from at least colorful careers, but at that point in our lives, it just happened that we didn't have any money to put in it, but effort. And we did that continuously. Every money we made, we put back into the business until it became something that was easily repeatable. So
I really love the word easily repeatable.
Yeah, because that's when it becomes a business, right?
Yes.
I put out a tweet recently where I said people should send me what they are working on. The first criteria I have a type form plan that allows 100 responses per month, and I filled up that 100 within like 2 days.
Wow.
So yeah, people are working and people are doing stuff, but I can only help so many, right? With what's resources available to me. And then the first criteria is, have you found somebody to pay for it? Right? Have you, even if it's one person, has somebody
said, if this comes to life, I will pay
because
for it?
Before that, it is not yet a business, right? So back to the question, wherever you are in your journey, just like I did, because I wanted to free up my time to do more strategic stuff, it was the part of all my responsibilities that I thought I needed help with. It's usually not sales, just like you guys have seen. I've been saying, if you're a founder and you cannot sell your product,
I'm sorry for you.
Just go and work in Oracle or Shell. Just go and be a soft life guy there.
Right.
So maybe all the other things that free up your time for you to focus on the growth of the business, which is basically building and selling. For us, it was because it was in the context of B2B, we needed somebody to manage those relationships, get them to understand the product and use the product to their own benefits. So my usual first hire is, because I'm great at sales, is somebody who can provide some type of support. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I love that. So I want to ask you like a variation of that question, which is at what stage did you join like Mono?
I think they had already had like their first 15 employees.
Interesting.
Thereabout,
Great. So more context now. So I want to talk about scaling. So at what point do you scale? So you see, I put out a short video like 2 days ago about how founders should go and hire from Oracle or Google because they just got friends and family 500K.
Yes.
Right? Or they did pre-seed, right? Yeah. So at what point do you say, now we're 15, we need to become 30? Context is that I was the 17th employee at Carywise. I was also the first HR, so I built the HR. And in my first 90 days, we moved from 17 to 30, right? And there were reasons why. So what should drive that reason?
I think the first reason why it, first of all, became a business need and a business decision. As the as the company began to grow, we started to solve for, okay, now we have people that are putting in like crazy tons of hours. What happens if one person breaks down? So I think the first thing we built for was continuity, which if you're even building a business, some of the ISOs that you do, business continuity management, is one of the things that you attack first. It's just, okay, now that we have the first set of people that can do this, how can we solve for days where their 100% is not what we get? That was when we started to have some backup support roles for very important roles. Now, HR didn't need to have a backup support role at the time, but definitely account management did, because with the way we were making our partnerships and sales, more businesses started coming in. So we said, okay, so in case we want to section our time on hours, how are we going to do it? So that was the first reason why we started to hire more people. I think the second thing was that we needed people that, how will I put this? We're going to be drivers of success. So I'm one of those people that the kind of people you are split into three. You have the builders, you have the sellers, you have the enablers. Now, the builders are the ones that you have in the beginning, followed by the sellers who would now sell what the builders have done, followed by the enablers that will begin to be the positive reinforcement for what it is that you're building. So after we solved for the business continuity part, we had to solve for the enabler part. Who is the person that comes together and is the oil to the engine? Whether that be a manager or something that just get the gears flowing. Sometimes that person can even be like a junior person, doesn't have to be the most senior person, but who is the runaround guy that says, okay, is this ball dropping? I can pick it. Is it just someone that gets the ball rolling? And I think the third thing was when we realized that where the company was getting to, we needed soldiers of our own. Okay. It's nice when you hire, like you said, go and hire from Google. You hire one C-suite exec that's going to call like $60,000 for you per year. You know what I mean? And you'll be scratching your head because the country that you're in, you get. So we're like, okay, it's time for us to grow our own people. That's when we started the whole internship program. So they're bringing up young people that
was great.
The mono DNA is embedded in them from the beginning.
Yes.
So those were the three things we looked at as we started to scale, and they all came out of how the business was growing. If we weren't done with the selling stage, we didn't require an enabler. If our products weren't having a strong structural direction, we didn't need to hire somebody that we need to teach, because we're not even done with our structure to get someone. Where's the room to do that? So, but then these are the three facets of the kind of people that you need, and they come at each stage of how the business is growing. So that's how we're able to scale.
No, I love that response, and I think that Seye is not like wants to add something.
Yeah, I just want to add something there. Okay. So again, just like I've been saying, depending on what kind of company you're building. So for us, a singular business that has created something that is going to support hundreds of other businesses at the same time, you have to have like a vision of what scale means for you in terms of your people. For us today, we're about 35, 40 employees. I call all of them, you guys are the foundational employees, right? You guys are still, I think even when we get to 50 people, they are still going to be the foundational, because these are the guys that are going to define what the future is going to be for other people coming into the organization, right? So if you're in a leading position, for instance, I usually quote George Washington in our Monday meetings where, after his first presidency of the United States, he defined and said, everybody was like, you're the most qualified person here, so just continue the presidency. And he said, I am in uncharted waters, and whatever I do now becomes precedence for everybody that comes after me. So I will step down, because we have to be able to create a structure.
Yes.
So these guys, you have that responsibility as well to say, this is how we are going to operate, right? And we know that at some point we go beyond, because today I have like interaction with everybody in my team. Right, I can do it and say I want to do a one-on-one with everybody in my
every
team.
Single person,
it's possible, but at some point it's not going to be possible anymore. And then that's when we've gone beyond this foundational employee concept, and it is the job of those guys now to ensure that they've created, along with me, of course, the processes that become repeatable and understandable for everybody that comes afterward.
Yeah, I really love, first, I'm getting balanced POV, and that unlike people on Twitter think, founders and HRs are not actually enemies, because I'm thinking to two people sitting in two different roles, and I'm hearing your responses, and there is up to 85 to 90% intersection. So that's super inspiring. And then if you're an HR person listening to this, I think that you should focus on doing a lot of strategy alignment, right? Just continuously positioning yourself as a business partner, because I like to think that that's who Freda is, just hearing you speak. Yeah, so I'm going to take like half step back, just half. Both of you, Freda, I think you doubled down on that, but both of you mentioned the importance of, at the beginning, hiring that person that brings that extra juice. Too much juice, too much sauce. That extra juice and that extra sauce. I'm not yet being any generation.
I'm screaming.
But the set of
I know what you're about to.
But the set of talents that not all of them, because I also do not like to fall into victim of fallacy of generalization.
Absolutely.
But people have, I just want to do my work and go. This company is overworking me. So how do you, especially, you started Paid 2020-ish. You have been with Mono like 2020-ish too.
Time, yeah.
So I'm a founder in 2024. And so half of the talent I would probably hire Gen Zs, know. So how do I manage that expectation of, I don't want to be overworked. I just want to do my work and go with, are they not overworking me with, I need to find a place where I can commit to, or as a founder and HR manager, I need to find a talent, that can give me the extra with my limited resources. I know that's a difficult question.
Because first I'm about to say, I hate this chick that give Gen Z people. Let them live.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah. I'm a fan of Gen Z. Like, I root for them.
Believer.
They're amazing.
I think, what we need to focus on is what the generation considers success in the workplace.
Okay.
Now, the millennials or the boomers before us consider success as showing up every day, even though I'm not doing a damn thing, but just showing up every day. You see how your parents, they'll tell you, why are you sitting in the room? How is it that you're in your room getting as much work done as when I was in the bank, spending longer hours? So I feel like the Gen Z generation prioritizes outcome as success.
Output.
Our output rather as success. So it's like they want to know that what I produce, as long as it's high quality work, then I've done what I'm supposed to do. So I think the first thing is just being honest about what they're getting into. Because the truth is that there are certain industries that just you can't relax to do it. It's like saying a doctor should take a break. Or do you get where I'm coming from when lives are at stake? So I think the first thing you want to be is honest about the nature of the business when you're relating with somebody of that generation. Like, this work is going to be hard, but it's going to be fulfilling. And the next question is, how is it going to be fulfilling? Now, it's now your job to say, okay, what does this person consider a healthy workplace? And being able to align that with what the company can currently offer. You might not be able to get, you might not be able to get $1 million, but I can offer you flexible work options. I can guarantee that when you do work, we reward and we recognize people for their efforts. So even if it's not Gen Z and it's just anybody you're hiring, it's so important. That's why culture interviews, I always emphasize that I don't care what stage of your company is. Culture. You need to solve for culture, because you can hire somebody for the right skills and they will be a horrible fit in your organization, right? And now and some founders have this bad habit, where they just because the person's culture is bad, they'll just shift you to independent contributor and say, well, since his culture is bad, let him just work. Forgetting that.
No, because I don't have strength to rebuild culture that I just managed to do.
Exactly, but you don't understand how detrimental that can be to the entire process, because it takes one person to repeatedly see you do things the opposite way for them to actualize this as something that can be done. So if I know that the right thing to do is to come in at 2 p.m., but I see somebody coming in at 3:30, the person just needs to come at 3:30, long enough for me to say I could do 3 o'clock. You know what I mean? That's why things like that can be very dicey. So I would say just let them know what they're getting into and focus on other aspects of reward that aren't tied to just slaving away and saying thank you. What are the flexible work hours? Can we guarantee that it's aligned with your passion? The kind of career growth that you're looking for, can we offer you, or can't we offer you that? Like at Mono, when Mono started, telling people that, when you get here, you're going to grow, was a lie. Because first of all, we don't have VP level for you yet. Even our co-founders haven't reached VP level. But what we can provide for you is an early stage groundwork, please. I have people that came in as account managers and left as product managers, because while we not be able to offer you growth laterally, we can definitely offer you growth vertically and in the scope. So there are other ways to provide value for these said people that don't exactly have to be tied to what's in their pockets. Because like I said, Gen Z people, they prioritize outcome, how the work is done, and how the work they're doing makes them feel as people. When I do and I show up to work and I see Seye at the office, where I feel like, yes, this is my boss. I'm ready to do this. Let's go. You know what I mean? And that's what makes them tick. While the average, maybe millennial or the other person just thinks, if my God doesn't like me, no wahala. So far, they give me my 100K at the end of the month. I do the one I can do. And I don't know if you can see the contrast. So they are not so different. Just the expectations are.
No, I loved your balance on expectations. Do you want to say something before I move to the next thing?
Yes.
Of course you want to.
So the way I want to answer that question is, so you see, culture is transient, right? And I'm not even talking about company culture. I'm talking about like society.
Cultures in
Society
general,
is transient. The boomers came before the internet or the proliferation of the internet, and their jobs required them to go to a particular location because the tools to do the work were there, and the collaboration they needed to become successful was in a physical location. We, millennial, I hope you guys are millennial too. We came with the internet, right? We learned the internet as we grew, and by the time we became professional, it was a tool that we could understand and use to achieve success. The Gen Z were born into an efficient internet dispensation, right? So from age 4, 5, 6 up to 19, 20, and now getting into the workforce, they already know so many tricks and things to achieve the outcomes that she spoke about. But
on the other,
geographically, Nigeria, where we are, nobody documented those differences, right? Nobody documented those transitions. And then volume drives perception. Absolutely. If you see me every day coming to the office, drinking water, right? You say Seye drinks a lot of water, right? Whereas I mean, not
the office.
I only do that for so
maybe 2 glasses.
Exactly. So because we have all these communication channels, Twitter, Instagram, blah blah blah, and people have said these things so many times about Gen Z, people think that is the Gen Z behavior. When in actual fact, we have a lot of high flyers as Gen Z people who are very dedicated to their work. They don't joke with their work. Just like you said, they don't joke with those outcomes because they want to be able to say that I did this, and this was the impact I had, right? So because of all those things is why people just make it just like people will meet a Nigerian and say, oh, Nigerians are fraudsters, right? It's because volume drives perception. They've heard that story so many times, so they think it's the truth, right? Until they meet a lot of Nigerians and realize that, oh wow, God, no. It's only about 5%
they are
of these
associates
people.
at Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and all those big companies.
Do you get me? So, you know, because we are a society that does not document and report stuff deliberately, right? Is why those perceptions just begin to fly. I think that, and you know, somebody asked me yesterday that, Seye, what do you think is going to be the biggest driver of growth in your business? And I said cultural adoption, right? Because it's not going to be how many sales people I hire and how many businesses they are able to go and talk to and convince. It will be that there will be a big shift, right? I was talking to somebody at a very large, old insurance company, and you and I know that insurance company is old people that are there. But he said that 65% of their workforce is now Gen Z. Interesting. Right? So what is going to happen over the next 4 or 5 years is that the Gen Z will be the majority on the market. And these are the guys I mentioned that were born into efficiency of the internet. So those are the tools they are going to require. They are going to demand that I want the best tool on the market to be able to do my work, right? So that I can get you the outcomes.
Don't bring paper.
Don't bring
Excel. He's not. Yeah, and a Gen Z HR person in the next 5 years is not going to be as good at Excel as you are. Because he knows that why do I need to learn how to write formulas and stuff when I can just get a tool that does it for me? It's the outcomes we are focused on. So that's how we need to view the perception.
Guys, I'm learning, guys. I hope that you are too. Is your notepad full yet? Great. So I want to go forward because I want to run, but I also have to take just another half step back. I know that you mentioned, especially when I asked the question around what roles do you hire for, and I know that you've also referenced it when you were talking about culture interview. So how exactly is it conducted? What are the core questions you asked, and what are you looking for when you facilitate a culture interview?
Yes, I think what I look at first of all is what your understanding of a positive workplace is. Okay. So sometimes I ask things like, who was your favorite manager and why?
Oh my God.
when you're in a rut with your colleague, how do you approach that conversation? When you show up at work and you're feeling down, what is your response to that? I want to see your natural disposition to things that happen in the workplace. People think that when you say culture interview, you're about to say our values, our mission, our ownership. Do you take ownership of your work? That's not. That's nobody you're gonna ask about somebody that has downloaded your company website before they got to
5 times. Some of them haven't open page on another screen.
On the other screen.
And you're looking up like this.
But what you want to find out in a culture interview is what their natural predisposition to things are. And sometimes culture interview is not for you to say, oh, every single thing in our culture it has. It's also understanding what can be taught and what can't. At Mono now, we are very big on mutual respect and accountability. We want you to own what it is you're doing. It's not enough to just say, oh, I do HR. But then owning looks like, if it fails today, are you able to say it is something that I did yesterday that allowed this thing to work like this, and not stop there, but this is how I'm going to fix it. Now that this is how I'm going to fix it is what I look out for in a culture interview. So if I say, so what happens when something goes bad, and you say, I'll just tell my manager that didn't have spoil, and this is it. In my mind, you're not a culture. You're not a culture fit. You don't have to. You're
not mono culture fit.
Thank you. You don't have to tell. But if you tell me things like, I try and rectify it and find out where the issue is, and I show my manager and let them know. Now that's a more like palatable answer for me. So I'm just looking at one, your natural disposition to things. Two, your understanding of how much the industry plays in the way you're supposed to act. When you're working in a fintech and you are a very laid-back person, it might not favor you so much. But if you have knowledge of the industry and say, because I'm in a fast-paced environment, this is how I do things, also helps me. Because sometimes you ask people, what's the culture like, where you're coming from? And just freestyle it. Or maybe they'll just say, oh, we show up every single day, you have to. I'm just like, okay, and what is the productivity from that kind of work habits? Yeah. And you can't give me an equally heavy answer. Yeah. Then it now looks to me like eye service. It just looks to me like time wasting. You know. So these are the things that culture interview solves. It allows you. People don't even know how to use the outcome of a culture interview. They think it's just enough to ask and say, okay, now we think it's cool. It's the first thing you do with a culture interview is to first speak to the manager. We think this person is a great fit. This is why we think they're a great fit. And this is how, as a manager, you can cover the lapses of the place where they are failing. Sometimes you can even say, this person is not exactly like what we normally hire, but I think their presence here will shift something in the environment. While bringing somebody that likes to be very active for a culture that is pretty laid back. So you have to, sometimes culture interviews about finding balance.
Between, is this candidate fit, or can we make this candidate fit?
Can we make this candidate fit? And what can we do for this person that enhances the way they respond to the work environment or the way they do their work? How do we give them the right manager that will actually bring out these things out of them? And if you don't have those answers from that culture interview, what you find is a manager just managing everybody the same way forgetting that this person requires more of A, this person requires more of B, or this person requires more of C. That's what the culture interview is so powerful that you see when they say when people leave after 3 months, it's because of this or 4. That probation period, is the most defining factor of, is this somewhere I'm going to stay? And if you don't prioritize, because that probation period, the person isn't really doing actual work.
Yeah.
They are learning, they are finding their footing. And all they have is their perception of culture at that point. Yes. They don't know enough about the business to judge their activities. So if you don't do it well in that moment, it can be a make or break for if this person sees this company as somewhere that they can continue to stay in. So that's what I will say.
No, that's super inspiring. And I think the reason why it is also important is that you don't want someone to leave the company after 90 days, because that's hiring costs, that's hiring time.
Exactly.
I saw Seye nodding a lot. I'm going to say something also.
I've learned that. I don't have anything to contribute.
From an HR perspective, again, because I've also been in industry the last 5 years.
Yes.
I think an addition I wanted to make was, I loved how you talked about knowing the fit, knowing like how to find a manager to manage this person, because some questions I get is also, does culture fit means like culture homogeneity? Right, and I was going to put it out there that sometimes companies actually hire someone that is not like 100% or 75%,
Yes.
but also create structure that enables the person to shine. I remember the first specialist that we hired when I was at CarrierWise. So everybody in the marketing was generalists. It
Yes.
meant that someone could do email marketing and content marketing and ads and everything. The first time we were hiring a specialist, I had to tell the head of growth that, hey, this person is a specialist, but see that specialist skill that she has. Come
Yes.
on. Anything that
One
comes
in
to
town.
copy. And like I dare say, she's one of the best copywriters out of Nigeria.
Yes.
I mean, I won't mention her name, but she's one of the youngest travel influencers out of Nigeria. So you
Yes.
probably know that. Yeah. So like, I think that is very important, like you said, that funders, hiring manager, just pay attention to first the crucial importance of culture fit interviews, ask the right questions, but also process the outcomes and share with important stakeholders. So if you're an
Yes.
hiring manager, a founder, that's something that you
Also
should
take calculated bets.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
Chicken. Sabi guy.
Yeah, just
That
as
was
in
it. Just to
one of the
add.
things I extracted from what both of you guys said was, yes, sometimes this person is not 100% or 50% or even 20% fit, right? But the person is also productive in their own right and valuable, right?
Yes.
So I can take a bet. You can have by sheer wit or just winging it. I mean, in fact, in the early days, the culture of the organization comes from the founders, right?
True.
It's how you work. And then you just naturally gravitate towards people who are like that and bring them to the organization. Then you realize that, because I'm the founder, me, for instance, I don't do a lot of my work in the office, right? I do a lot of if you follow my Twitter, I do a lot of my work in the midnight.
Yeah,
right?
because during the day.
So in the office, in our first office, it was just like a little room and 6 of us were there. And for 1 hour, I can decide to gist with them. And I'm just talking and trying to understand their own personal experiences and stuff. And then after a while, I have to go to a meeting, come back, and then I realize that my actual work has not been done. And then if you mistakenly have like 6, 7, 9 guys with that same kind of behavior, you cannot demand from them that they should do their work in the midnight. So all that work gets piled up and then nothing gets done in the office.
Yes.
That's
So
perspective.
after a while, you realize, I need to shake up this organization by bringing one of those very active guys who's going to ensure that things are done. Right. So those are the kind of calculated bets I was saying that people can make.
No, that's forward thinking. And it just leads me straight to my next question. How do you, as a founder, sell the vision of the company? How do you, as a culture manager, head of people and culture, sell the culture of the company?
I wish you could have one of my employees answer that.
I promise you, they embody it already. That's why we want to hear, how did you ensure that they embody it?
It's just to never stop talking, right? So, it's so difficult. One of the most profound things and one of the wins that I know that I can take away from the company that we've built is that we're able to assemble a group of guys who were as fired up about what we were trying to achieve as myself and Lekon were. And how we did it was just like, one of the things I learned from one of my former bosses, who I cannot mention, is the transparency of communication. I'd never seen anything like that before. He can as much as tell you how much is left in the company account.
Wow.
Right? He was so transparent with his communication. And I learned that from him. Like, when my organization, because I know how it made me feel. It made me feel like,
I'm part of it. I need to double down.
I need to fix this thing. I can be sleeping like, have I sent this email? I'm like, let me draft the email, even though I'll send it in the morning. That's where I even learned how to schedule emails to arrive at 8 a.m.
Wow, strategy.
So, that transparency to a decent extent, right? Because you also have to respect the sensibilities of the people, so that you don't cause uncertainty for them as well. Is one of the ways we did it, right? We talk about what we want to do. You see, what PaidHR is today. In our last company retreat, I showed the sketch I sketched on my paper and, kind of designed on a PowerPoint slide. It was as far back as 2021.
Wow.
Right? And that's the marriage of fintech and HR tech, right? Giving wallets and dollar wallets to employees and from where they receive all of those things.
Yes.
We already thought about it from 2021. But guess what? It took us 2.5 years to build the HR side, right? And there were people coming and going at that time. And, there are people who also were here from the beginning, right? And it just took a continuous explanation of how this vision is going to become reality and letting them know how important the work they are doing is to that vision, right? I would always create scenarios. I'm the best scenario creator in the world. I would tell you that, imagine all of us are doing this thing and you, the social media guy, you are coming up with unrelatable content, right?
That does not align.
So that means all of this work that we've done, the kind of people who want to consume your content so that they can understand that we've lost them, right? So the person realizes that,
oh my God, so I'm not just a social media manager, I'm part of the big dream.
Impacting. And even the office admin guy, everybody, I need to be in a great state of mind.
Yes,
right?
So water will not finish in the office.
Water was not finished, the AC is not working or the AC is leaking water. That excellence is very, very very visible in the organization, and that's why I said I want you guys to come to the office. So we don't mess about with somebody feeling lost. Is one of the most important things. And I say it, even my employees quote me now and say, Ashe will say in the meeting that I hope everybody understands what we're trying to achieve here.
Yeah,
but
if
you are not clear, I have 5 minutes. I always have 5 minutes. Seye, do you have 5 minutes? Yes. Come in.
Right? This vision, you must get it.
So everybody gets it. Even when somebody had to leave for ×5 the money I was paying him, it was a difficult decision for him, right? And I know he was not acting. It was difficult because he was like, is this the time I should be leaving this company?
Hope they've not eat that next master without me. No, that's super inspiring.
So we're very big on that.
I took away like the transparency in communication, just showing real time. Another thing that you probably didn't highlight, but I noted was showing how your role inspires the old vision. So you're a social media manager, but you're not just a social media manager. You're a social media manager making tweets that will impact the life of 100,000 or 1 million African employees.
And what that does, sorry to cut you short, what that does is when I critique your work, I think it's easier for them to understand where it is coming from. Because I don't have the time to tell you the details, right? There's one of them here. In the early days, man, this is not good enough. Like, okay, how do you suggest I make it better? And, it was defensive at that time. But when we went through the cycle of letting you understand what we are trying to achieve. So if I say this is not good enough, like, I see how it can be better and stuff like that. And it makes your life easier, right?
Yeah. I mean, we'll still get to like the decision-making, delegation, execution part, but thanks for spotlighting that. How do I sell monoculture? I mean, I'm loving mono, but I can't right now.
I think for me, I'll just take off from what like Seye already said, just being transparent about the company's journey so far, letting them know like where we started from, what our vision is, and where we're trying to get to. And I think another important part for me is tailoring the vision to meet the person that you're speaking with. An intern just needs to know that this is a place they can grow. They don't need the rest. A manager just needs to know that this is the place where my career can take flight, or it can expand, or I can challenge myself more, which is also important because sometimes when you oversell like the impact of the company without tailoring it to meet how they are going to benefit from it, because at the end of the day, your relationship with your employee, aside you being a good boss, is as wide as your offer letter would take on the paper. Like no matter what you say, at the end of the day, we're bound by 30 days notice. You know what I mean? So if you're not able to take it to where it matters to them, it's going to be difficult. Another way I sell it to them is through nothing like direct referral, nothing like hearing from an existing employee with actionable insights on how Mono has actually impacted my growth, my personal life, how they care about not just where I'm going to grow to, but how I'm even taking those steps there. So those are the third things. And then the fourth thing is they meet with the CEO. Abdul is a big seller of Mono's vision.
I can see it from his tweets.
Every single day he lives and breathes, and even if they don't get a chance to do it like immediately, at some point they meet with him and you see the change after they leave there. It's something that even you as an HR person can't do. Because while you can share the story, the CEO is in the story, like he was the story, and he even has more actionable insights about how the growth was that you were not able to meet. So I would say tailoring your message to meet the impact of the person you're speaking to, being absolutely transparent in communication, sharing the journey, and then giving them an opportunity to meet people within the organization that can give them real-time testimonies on what it's like to be a Mono employee. You know, that's why a lot of people, when they join, they will say, we're hearing, we heard, we said. Those are intentional talent acquisition efforts that allow you to say, you know what, I can come in here because I know this. You know what I mean? Exactly. It doesn't start when you reach out to the employee.
Exactly. No,
So
I love it.
saying,
I love it. No, this has been a very rich conversation. I know that I've drilled you guys a lot. And if you're listening, I'm very sure that you've learned a lot. So let's take a break. Let's take a breather.
Right,
play some icebreaker. You can take a glass of water. So we're going to do a couple quick fire icebreaker questions.
Okay.
No, it's yes or no. What will I do? What will I not do? So, I mean, I'm guessing that your responses will be interesting because I guess Seye will respond from a funder.
Is there yes or no? Is there yes but?
Is there like maybe?
Is there context?
Is there it depends?
Get more context.
Okay, so context. Well, question number one: would you rather hire an expensive outlier or two average talents? Now, I know Seye will ask for context, so I decided to give context. Would you hire an exceptional growth marketing manager asking for 2K USD per month, or two average marketing managers, both of them asking for 1K USD per month?
Okay. That's good context. Because we're spending the same amount of money anyway.
Yes.
So it will
it's
be
just
very...
the number of people.
For me, I'll go for the singular guy.
Okay.
If it was that they were both asking for 500 USD per month, right? And I will spend 1K on two people versus 2K on one person. I mean, then the question I would have asked was, how much money do I really have? So that would have been the context. In all cases, it's still best to go for the exceptional outlier, provided, you know, I'm able to meet that obligation. Like continuously managing two average people. In fact, the real question for me would be exceptional outlier 2K or one average guy at 500K. That becomes the real question for me, because
am I willing to pay 4x?
Yeah, no, because I now have to I have to weigh the effort I need to help to manage the average guy to
versus the outlier.
Versus if I just have the money to pay the 4x and, you know, start getting my results instantly.
That's a unique perspective.
I absolutely agree with him, because I know the cost that is involved in just training L&D. People think it's just enough to say, don't worry, come and do on-the-job training.
Oh my God.
But then it's also a form of...
know?
Yeah, it's not easy.
Do they know?
It's also like a form of resource that is also leaving the company, whereas an outlier has the experience and they can hit the ground running immediately. So I'll definitely, except also because of the cost, it's literally the same thing. So I'd go with the outlier.
Great. So I have two more, but I think I'll ask one more so that would run fast. I'm looking at you like, okay, it's straight up. If a 25% company-wide increase will lead to a 90% retention rate over the next 12 months, will you make the increase?
Instantly.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Retention rate. I mean, our retention rate is already great, by the way.
But imagine what a 25% increase could do.
They will sing good phrases of you.
You beg them to close.
I mean, since this is a hypothetical situation.
Yes.
Yes.
No, he said.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're even considering, what we're considering is actually more than 25%.
Shala.
Everybody happy.
Provided the business can support it. Of course, I mean, hiring is stressful, man.
Yes,
you know, as in if you figure out your attrition and it's good on you, man, because it's risky, it's expensive,
yes, time consuming.
I hired somebody who I thought was going to grow to lead the sales team back in February. The guy left in one week or something.
That's so brutal.
Right?
That's insane.
Like, guy, you not even give me a chance to let's even
walk this journey for 90 days before you make a decision. Wow.
So if you know. And the way I hire now, especially for like strategic roles, is I've learned a lot from Mark Zuckerberg and the Sheryl Sandberg story, where I've identified this person from 6 months ago. I've sat with them on a couple occasions, like, okay, I've seen their problem solving. I've seen all of those things. I'm interviewing for 6 months, but they don't know until I now reveal my grant plan and say, guy, I actually want you to come and do this here. So, I can do that. But for other routine roles, I want my people to grow.
No, that's exciting. I know that Freda agrees. So the only reason why I'm asking this last question is because it takes us to the second part of this podcast, and that's where we wrap up. Would you rather let go of an underperforming employee, or would you give them another chance while reducing their pay?
I'm not a fan of reducing people's pay. And the reason...
So 1 second, I want to give context for here. So, would you rather let go of an underperforming sales manager? Or would you rather reduce their pay over a certain period of time and maybe put them on PIP? So there is more specificity now.
I would say I wouldn't reduce their pay, but I may reduce their access to benefits. I may reduce the extent to which they can exercise those employee rights within the company only because you're under probation. I believe that an underperforming employee is not a reflection of the employee themselves. It's just a reflection of the way they are working at the moment. And sometimes the things that affect an employee may not even have anything to do with the direct output, but something that's happening in their life. That's why I said that I won't let the employee go. I'll give you a chance on a PIP to kind of prove yourself while restricting you to benefits. Because one thing that companies don't know how to do is that it's very important that when an employee knows that they're on probation, they feel that they're on probation. Not that they're on probation, but it doesn't feel like much. Just so that, because if you know what it feels like to be put on PIP, you remember that you are not going to want to be there anymore. So I will not say restrict their pay because that's their livelihood, but I will say reduce access to their benefits while still ensuring that they do what they need to get back up to par.
Can I just say you're very brilliant? Yeah, so Seye, I know you were learning, but do you want to say something, or do you want me to run away?
Yeah. if the person is underperforming, and we have all agreed what the context of underperforming means, the response from me will be to let the person go. Don't quote me, even if I'm on camera. I've rarely, and I'm not in HR, so I wouldn't know. I've rarely seen scenarios where an employee goes into PIP and makes a turnaround. I've not seen a lot of it.
Okay, so we can share two instances.
I would say,
yes, 2 instances. So
I won't even give an instance. I feel like it's the definition of PIP is what is kind of flawed here.
Yeah, so maybe we should define that.
So a PIP is not an opportunity to, how will I put it?
It's not like a death sentence.
It's not a death sentence.
Most of us treat PIP
because a lot of the time,
a warning period.
Let's not forget that, even as a co-founder, you're governed by labor laws. Labor laws that, for more times than not, stand in the side of the employee. A lot of the times, PIP can be seen as due diligence. It's not a prerequisite. It's not like, I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, you are.
It's like ensuring that you were underperforming. We did our bit. When you couldn't get there, we let you go.
So that's where I am.
Yes.
Right? So
I love how this conversation is going.
That's why I said once the context of an underperforming employee has been agreed.
Yes.
Right? Agreed with the employee, if depending on the stage of the organization, with HR, with co-founder, guy, we've done everything we can to support you. Unfortunately for us, that's even the reality in real life, right? Yeah. B2B is not straightforward sales, and especially because you use the sales example. B2B, there are so many nuances that happen before you close a deal, and then the success of you as a salesman is the multiples of that. So we give a very long rope to pull, right?
Okay.
I have somebody, and I don't think I should say it on camera.
Absolutely.
Right? There was somebody who did, such a long time in my organization, very horrible performance, but we kept on supporting until when we even had to shake hands, he understood it. We are okay.
You guys have done my best.
Right? So
that makes sense.
Yes.
So I will never be in the conversation where should we reduce his pay.
Exactly.
I think that will even go from bad to worse, right? So because he will not only be demotivated to to do the work, he would also just start planning his exit, and then I'm paying half pay or 75%.
So just save your time.
So it's like a gangrene, right? The doctor will say this leg is decaying.
Should we amputate?
Should we keep it to continue decay, or should we cut stuff? Right?
Absolutely.
No, I mean, I think that your responses are profound, and the reason why they are profound is it's also taking me through how you think about decisions, which is where we are literally, drawing the curtain of this conversation. So, how do you make decisions about things? I would again give specifics. Like, do you have pillars or structures or mantras that guide you? I share two that guides me, because again, I've been in lead roles. One is that it's always a strong yes or a no.
Yes.
So when I'm hiring, or when my team is hiring, because in my new role now, I manage the talent acquisition partner, so I'm not so involved in hiring to final stage. When I'm conversing with the hiring manager or the talent acquisition partner, I say, is this also a strong yes or a no? Because if you can't tell me it's a strong yes, then it's a no.
Yeah.
And the second one is take risk and succeed. So I'm like, so I did a lot of marketing at career-wise. Like at some point, people thought I was co-founder. So when marketing, and at some point we also didn't have an head of growth, because the person left and we didn't feel that way. It took a while, so I deputized. I'm like, so when they bring an idea, I'm like, what's the risk? If it fails, what will we lose? We are not going to lose anything. Please try it out.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you have like strong pillars, mantras, things like that?
You start first.
When you're making decisions.
So, me, I'm a storyteller. So, again, depending on the kind of decision, right? There are some decisions that... So, I have different approaches to different kinds of decisions. If it is a collaborative effort, some type of project that I need stakeholders to drive, I'm very good at what I call inception, right? I know how to drive a team of people towards a decision so that everybody feels equal parts of contribution to say, oh, okay, this is our thing. And that usually helps the success of whatever decision it is going forward. There are some other things that if it's a me decision, right, but it affects X number of people in terms of delivery and stuff like that, I also do my normal Eisenhower, okay, do I need to take decision?
You use Eisenhower matrix. Oh my God, I use it too.
And that's for operational task. Really.
Yes.
Do I need to do this now? Do I need to delegate this?
Is it urgent enough? Yes.
And delete. I delete a lot. That one, like, this is a waste of my time.
Do I need to sit in this meeting? No, Kate is sitting it on my behalf.
Most of the times, when people come, actually, I'm trying to decide between this and this.
Go and decide.
And I just realized that all I needed to do was to just listen to them. And they tell me, oh, okay, if I do this is the possible outcome. If I do this, possible outcome.
They talk themselves into a solution.
So I'm like, okay, so I hope you can see where your decision. So
Thank you very much.
Right?
Next.
And then the last one I use is founder's intuition.
Okay, yeah.
There are some things that I just make a judgment call, right? Which is
very important. I mean, as a founder, I don't know. Do you? I know you read. Have you read Blink, Malcolm Gladwell?
Yes.
Oh,
I've not finished it.
Friend. Yeah, go
all the books in my library. I really like to.
But like that's one thing that
Yeah. So there a lot of the time I just use founders intuition to say I'm going to make this decision. If I fuck it up,
I'm going to do
it.
It's my fault. No, that's very helpful.
Most of the time it turns out.
I really love that you mentioned reference and S01. If you do not know about that, please Google S01 matrix and read about it. Yeah, Freda.
I think for me, considering that most of my decisions are like company-wide and they affect like a ton of employees, and you can't please everybody. You know?
I know.
A lot of the time, employees have this this perception that HR is for the management and not for the people.
Please,
every day we're having that. Every day we're having that fight.
Every decision finders affect us.
See, like I'm also an employee too. Like I have a letter to show. Sometimes if you forget, like I'll show you my offer letter if it brings you down.
Yesterday they were asking me, are we getting 30 salary? Of course we are. Do you think that bitch I don't want 30 salary?
Like,
I'm going to hustle for it like mad.
So I think for me, I think I'll just use like my most like frequent decision making is when maybe I have to make a decision in on behalf of my founder, or I'm making a decision that affects like the entire like employees. I just look for the decision that has the most alignment. Because the truth is that yes, the most alignment, because a lot of the decisions you make can't favor everyone. They will not always be, if you're an HR manager and you don't have the emotional thick skin to be able to confidently say things that may not be perceived well, but say it confidently because you know that this is something that is for the greater good and brings the most alignment business-wide. So it's not about pacifying the employee or pacifying the management, but strategically, this is a decision that in the long run provides both a short win quickly and a long-term impact. That's how you have to think about it. Because sometimes if you make some decisions that you always have to wait 6 months before you will see the good in it, it's not always great, especially from the people's perspective. Because the thing is not affecting their salary now, it's not affecting their meats now, it's not going to... So just ensure that, one, it has the most alignment. Two, you're making data-driven decisions, so you have the numbers to back it up. And then three, you make a decision that provides both a short, quick win and a long-term impact so that you get the buy-in and also the outcome that you're looking for. And as an HR person, it's also very, very important because you want that in that waiting period, it is that initial buy-in that gives them the ability to wait for the long-term impact. So that's how I make decisions.
I really, really enjoy listening to you guys. And
Thank you.
I could keep talking for the next 2 hours, but I feel like sometimes the director will just jump on set and send us away. So I'm going to wrap up with some interesting. I want you to share one tip with founders and one tip with employees that work with startup. I want you to share one tip with founders, one tip with employees, and one tip with HR professionals at startup.
Got it. Yeah,
okay. So Seye, you can go first.
The tip should be for what?
Founders and employees.
To do what?
Anything.
Just any tip.
You don't become winning founder now. Best founder of the year.
Tip for founders. Oh, okay. Yeah. I see what you mean. I thought when you say founders,
just random tips for founders and random tips for employees that work in a startup.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've said it before. One of the things that comes to mind when I want to talk to founders is founders always, and is the curse of smart people. You want to find the easiest way to get to something.
To do something,
right?
Yeah. I guess.
I'm trying to, no matter how big or small the task is, people are trying to leapfrog evident problems to say, I was able to sidestep this problem by doing this and I got to the outcome. But sometimes the victory is in going through that problem, right? And sweating the small stuff, doing that thing repeatedly, time and time after again, to the point where you can now say that you are a professional. Most startup founders, forgive me, they don't give themselves the grace of professionalism. And professionalism simply means doing something repeatedly enough to become extremely good at it, right? When we tried to raise money in the early days of the company, I wrote my pitch deck by myself many times. Pitched to 17 investors who said no 17 times, right?
Wow. That's a
and
lot.
After each no, I just took back the learning to say, okay, I need to fine-tune this part, or I need to actually fix this part inside my business, not just even fix the pitch, right? And did that until I got to the point of yeses, right? And I got 4 consecutive yeses. Now I'm faced with the same
bigger problem,
the same situation, right? But I already know the emotions, right? Yes. My investor calls now. I say, once I introduce myself, guys, just go straight to the questions.
Fire me.
Just start asking me the questions. I'm ready. I already know the kind of things because I've gone through it repeatedly enough. So whatever it is, and this example is of fundraising. It could be for selling. It could be for building. It could be for anything. You cannot always leapfrog problems. Sometimes you have to go through the problem and go through it continuously and well enough for you to be able to solve it in your sleep. Right?
That's very brilliant.
Even people management, right? For the longest time, even though I had somebody in the capacity of HR, I did the HR work by myself. And that HR work, I'm not a professional HR person, but what I knew was that I needed to understand the personality of everybody in the room so that I could guide the principles of how they worked together. And I did it so many times that now, once a problem comes up and I can see that this is just a matter of 2 egos clashing, right? Just talk to this guy and talk to this guy. And the problem will be solved, right? And, the employees, the second tip should be for
employees working at a startup. You can make that one shorter.
Yeah, so yes, I will make it shorter. I mean, my one of the things I usually think about saying to employees is that it's going to come from a founder to employee standpoint. And
so I think it would be great. That's why I asked you, because so that it will not be like their own founder is wicked or their founder is ash, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
they need to understand that the founder is also struggling, right? Most people say, you're the founder now, you're the one with most benefit and all of that. But the founder can very easily become the guy who ends up holding an empty bag. The employees will collect their salaries day on day, month on month, and go away to go and find another job.
Ship,
right?
Yes.
But the investors too can say, okay, goodbye. You fucked it up.
The money was lost.
Exactly.
No problem. It's part of the process.
The founder is the guy with that reputation, that problem, that sleepless night and stuff. And somebody was asking me, we created a desk and a new department and made somebody the head of that department. And he's like, Ashe, I've not done this before. How do I figure stuff out? And I said, bro, I've also never been a CEO before, right? I'm learning it as I go. So people need to understand that the founders are struggling to manage many things that they've never been in a position to manage before. And if you see that person at least has a good heart and stuff like that, you should give them some grace as well. Because they don't really have, bad intentions.
Yeah,
for
that's
you guys.
empathetic and profound. Hi, Freda.
Okay, so I'll say for startup founders is that a lot of the times startup founders that become CEOs didn't apply for the job like other industries. You become a CEO by the nature of the fact that you're a founder, which is most often the case. It's not like in other industries where you have a CV and you can only be there for 10 years, after which you leave for another person to have that position. So I would say, as a founder who finds himself in a CEO position or whatever the case may be, it's okay to admit that you are wrong and that you don't know everything. Because in the very early stages, you are bringing people who are quote-unquote specialists. And sometimes you are so driven by the vision.
Why is Freda looking at me?
That you forget.
I said that.
Because I'm founders.
That
you are so driven by what you want to do, and like Seye says, you don't prioritize professionalism in the process, that you lose sight of why it's important to do things a particular way. You want to leap and pass. You don't want to take corrections. You don't want to listen to other people. You have to be okay with being uncomfortable. In an uncomfortable situation, say, you know what, maybe you actually do know it better than I do. And in this situation, I'm going to sit down.
Right, I'm just going to wait for the results.
For employees, I would definitely say that if you're an employee in a startup, be there with a goal. Because a lot of startups fail in like their first 5 years. If you enter a startup without a plan of how you intend to grow from point A to point B and the time you want to do it, you can easily get lost. It's not like Guinness or the ones that are in Unilevers that there's Carla that you can see somebody already in the 20th step and you're in 5. So you've already calculated like this.
In 18 months.
But in a startup, you have to come there with a goal. I'm coming here because I want to hone X skill. I'm coming here because in the space of 3 years, I know that there's fast growth enough for me to live here as a senior manager. If you don't come like that intentionally to a startup, it's easy for you to get lost in the wind because something is always happening.
Can you guys feel Freda's passion? Because I am feeling that you must share this podcast
Then the last thing, as an HR person, I will say, take it easy on yourself. You are, a lot of HR people, they are always, in fact, I've seen their sub stories on LinkedIn every day. Let me just tell you what happened to me last week. When I say even being easy on yourself and also being easy on the founder as well, because there are certain times when a founder is so occupied with what they have to do, they've just left the people thing for you to go and handle it. And startup culture looks different every day, even if the concept is the same. Something is always happening, something has happened out of the blue. So if you're not patient with yourself, if you don't pace yourself, if you don't do the best possible thing you can and let things unfold, you're going to drive yourself insane, because it's hard to say you can really hold, unless the startup has gotten to a scale up where you finished firefighting. Because in the first stage of a startup, you are always putting out fires. So just be patient with yourself, do the best you can, and ensure that with every step you're building, you're doing it with the long-term goal in mind. You are planning for when this company now becomes 50 people, becomes 100, not when it becomes 5. Because if you keep firefighting, if you keep short-term firefighting, when the company gets to a 50 place, you're going to find yourself doing the same exact thing. So that's the advice I'll give to HR people.
No, that's very, very encompassing. This has been a masterclass. And if you listened to us at this point, you are the real OG. You have one extra task to do. Like, subscribe, share, on all platforms. Thank you very much, guys. It was really, 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 really nice conversing with you. Well, if you've listened up to this point, you're amazing. You're awesome. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, post, share with your colleagues, enemies, friends, exes if you have them. Always remember, it's okay to step back in, but for now, take a break and listen to the Out of Office podcast. It's your host, Emmanuel Faith. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you very much.